Hello and welcome to the top 10 Beyond Resurrection and Arrancars in Bleach Brave Souls. It's really the only way I can actually refer to them, I don't really know what else to call them. But all 10 of the Espada and Noel have now had their Beyond Resurrection forms, so I figured why not? As always, I did try to take into consideration every aspect of this game when creating this list, so if you favor one game mode over another, opinions may vary. That said, let's begin.
その目に焼き付けろアンテラデストラクシオン
私も衰えたもんじゃな
Now kicking things off, we have Grimmjow Jaggerjax, Espada number 6. This particular version of Grimmjow has a really high SP as well as Frenzy, and is able to inflict debilitating laceration on all of his attacks. His strong attack 1 is a projectile shot that moves enemies back, his strong attack 2 has decent range, and his strong attack 3 is a charge move that doubles his strength when fully charged. Unfortunately, it's not full screen, and he doesn't have Havoc either. Basically, this Grimmjow lacks range. That's not to say it's not good range, it just doesn't feel like enough. That said, he does pack a heavy punch. In addition to the high SP and Frenzy, he also has a strong attack damage link of 20%, so getting hit with a fully charged strong attack 3 is definitely gonna hurt. Finally, this Grimmjow is also completely immune to being burned, which comes in handy particularly in some of the harder PvE areas, since you don't really have to watch your step as much. Overall, he's still a solid character despite lacking some range, and his design remains one of my favorite ones on this list. Now next up is Espada number 9, Arrancar, who, like Grimmjow and most of the characters on this list, also has a really high SP and Frenzy. Arrancar can inflict debilitating weakening on all of his attacks, and they all have some pretty excellent range. Don't let his position at number 9 on this list or in his ranking fool you. This guy's actually really good for PvE. He's got really good range on his strong attacks, and thanks to the weakening they can inflict even more damage. Plus he's got a strong attack recharge link, so he's able to spam them more freely. His strong attack 2 in particular is likely to inflict the weakening since it's a vacuum vortex, and hits a bit more than his other strong attacks. Finally, there's his special that not only inflicts weakening and does a lot of damage, but also heals the entire party for 60% of their health, making it really useful in co-op. This Arrancar is also completely immune to being paralyzed and weakened himself, which is definitely a plus. Also, oddly enough, despite all of these characters being Arrancars, he's one of only 2 Arrancar remakes that actually has a Soul Reaper killer, which is weird because you'd think there'd be more.
見届けるがいい全てを無に返すこの力をトルメンタでムルシエラゴ
Now this one is kind of tricky. He's not technically a Can't Fear Your Own World character, but I never actually said that this is a Can't Fear Your Own World list. This is Oki Aura in his Beyond Resurrection form, and if I'm being honest, Arrancar is actually better than him when it comes to PvE. That said, Oki Aura has a lot more versatility to him. He also has a really high SP and Frenzy, and can inflict weakening on all of his attacks except for his strong attack 2. That said, it's not debilitating weakening, which is unfortunate, but it is still useful. Now as I mentioned, Arrancar is better in PvE, or I guess I should say faster, because Oki Aura can deal a whole lot more damage. His strong attack 3 is a charge move, and he has a strong attack damage link of 25%, meaning it's gonna hit very hard. And it can actually get even stronger. His strong attack 2 is a boost move that increases his attack, defense, and focus by 33%. Increasing the attack also increases the damage output of the strong attacks, meaning that his charge move can actually hit even stronger if he's boosted. Plus he has enhancer, so this boost has 20 seconds. And in addition to being a boost move, his strong attack 2 is also a barrier move, which is definitely a plus, especially in Senkaimon or when autoing, which he can definitely do. As I mentioned, his attack, defense, and focus can go up, but he also has poise, meaning he doesn't stagger, and it also means that his strong attack 3 cannot be interrupted if you're charging it. It also means that he's a viable option in PvP, since he can boost the entire team, and at that point his normal attack actually does a decent amount of damage. So yeah, like I said, this character is incredibly versatile. Or is it versatile? I really don't know how to say that.
Santa Teresa!
Next up is a character that very well would be on number 1 if this was a PvP list, Tora, who unlike all the characters I mentioned so far, has a really high attack, as well as flurry and poise. Now this on its own would be devastating, especially in PvP, since with poise you don't really stagger and with flurry your attack hits twice. With him in particular though, his attack actually hits even harder, since this strong attack 2 is a boost move, and it's not your regular kind of boost move. Not only does it increase his attack, defense, and focus by 33%, basically skyrocketing it, but it also changes the magnifications on all of his attacks, including his normal attack. In short, it's like a boost move plus. With that said though, Tora doesn't have enhancer, so the boost only lasts 10 seconds. 10 seconds in PvP though can get you pretty far, especially if you're him, and you start out with 10 barriers, essentially nullifying the first 10 hits, and giving you an incredible advantage in PvP. Not only this, but all of his attacks, with the exception of the strong attack 2, can inflict debilitating paralysis, and you do not want to get stunned when you're up against him. Now, unfortunately, this character does have a downfall in his killer. It's a captain killer, meaning you can only really take advantage of this when you're up against captains, which is not very often. It means that while he is decent in PvE, he can only ever go so far, since the killer multiplication won't really apply to him until the very end, and even then, only sometimes. That's not to say he's not good in PvE, like I said, he does deal a lot of damage, and with his abilities and his damage reduction soul trait, he is pretty durable, but compared to most of the other characters, he kinda lacks speed, and there's a lot of other characters with significantly better range on their normal attack. Still, for PvP, you can't ask for a better character, and I can't see them dethroning this guy anytime soon. Next up is a spot on number 10/0, Yami Largo. Like Tora, he also has Purry and Floys. I'm gonna keep that in there. Like Tora, he also has Flurry and Poise, but unlike Tora, he actually has a really good killer. Hollow Killer, meaning that he gets full advantage of the multiplications in the various events and Senkaimon. He also has a normal attack damage link, so the damage is increased even more. Yami can also inflict debilitating burn on all of his strong attacks and his special, you know, just in case he wasn't dealing enough damage already. Additionally, he's also completely immune to being frozen, making him even more useful in PvE, especially when autoing. Honestly, the only downside to this character is that his normal attack consists of 3 hits instead of the usual 4. This actually does slow him down a little bit, since an additional hit would mean additional damage, but the fodder enemies can't usually survive a full string of attacks from him anyway, at least not in the regular events. Coming in at number 5 is a spot at number 2, Baragan Reisenban. He not only has a really high SP and Frenzy, but also has Berserker at 20%. Giving him an extra 20% more damage on his strong attacks. Baragan can also inflict debilitating weakening on all of his attacks, and he's very likely to do it with his strong attack too, since it's a vortex move that pushes enemies back, increasing the combo drastically and increasing the chance to inflict the weakening. He's also got some pretty excellent range on his strong attack 1. Unfortunately, his strong attack 3 isn't full screen, and sadly, he doesn't have Havoc. That's not to say that his strong attacks don't have good range, it's just that it's not what it could be. Still, he's able to spam these strong attacks thanks to his strong attack recharge link, and if at any point he were to die, he would just come back, thanks to his last ditch survival ability. A really useful ability, especially in epic raids. Finally, we have the fact that he's completely immune to being weakened, something he must have picked up after being disintegrated by his own ability, I guess. Good to see he learned his lesson.
大地の洞窟を聞きなさい。ランサデルソ・ガミューサ。
Next on the list we have Noel, who unlike everyone else has neither Frenzy nor Flurry. Instead, she has a really high attack, a plus 80 bruiser, and one of the best normal attack strings in the game, that basically make her lunge every time she attacks, and thus drastically increase her range and make her a lot harder to hit. This comes with a lot of benefits. For one thing, it makes her one of the faster characters to auto with in the game, and for another, it also makes her really good in PvP, since she's kind of hard to hit. And while she may be a normal attacking character, her strong attacks really do come in handy. Her strong attack 1 is a lunge move, but her strong attack 2 is a vortex move that surrounds her. It both doubles as a shield, making her even harder to hit, and it actually does a decent amount of damage thanks to her plus 40 Berserker. Then we have her hybrid vortex move strong attack 3 that gathers enemies in one spot, and it's perfect for her to continue her onslaught. Not to mention that all of these attacks, including her normal attack attack and her special have a chance to inflict debilitating weakening, and her strong attack 2 is extremely likely to do it. To top it all off, she also has poise, so she does not stagger, making her even faster and even better in PvP. She's one of the few characters on this list that's good in both PvP and PvE, and it's why she ended up so high up on the list.
これが完璧な生命だ。ヤビーダ・フォルニカラス。
Coming in at number 3, we have Elebra Grants, the other character with the Soul Reaper killer. Elebra has a really high SP as well as Frenzy, and has really good range on his strong attacks, thanks in part to his plus 20 Havoc. His strong attack 1 is a Settle Blast that encompasses a wide area. His strong attack 2 is a Crawling Vortex move that's probably the widest I've ever seen. And his strong attack 3, while not starting off full screen, is a little bit more than full screen thanks to the Havoc. Elebra's strong attacks, his normal attack, and his special can all inflict debilitating poison. Additionally, his special also grants protection status to anyone who's alive to see it, essentially giving them an extra life with 50% of their total health if they were to die. It's not automatic like Last Ditch Survival, but it is a little better in that it grants protection to everyone, and you get more health back than you would with Last Ditch Survival. Elebra may not be as fast as some other characters, but he's definitely better with crowd control. He's also better for support since his special is the best support move out there, and he's also an excellent boss killer thanks to his poison / strong attack recharge combination. Additionally, he's also completely immune to being poisoned.
行くぜ。レボルベル・ロスロボス。逃げられると思うんだ。
Coming in at number 2, we have Espada number 1, and personally my favorite Espada in all of Bleach, Coyote Stark, who has an extremely good kit. Not only are his strong attacks really quick to activate, but they also encompass a really wide area, and it only gets even wider with his plus 20 Havoc, which increases the range of all of his strong attacks, but most notably makes his strong attack 3 go beyond full screen. All of his attacks also have a chance to inflict debilitating burn, and because he has a strong attack recharge link, he can pretty much just spam his strong attacks. He honestly has one of the best kits in the game, making him one of the fastest characters to ever come out, and in addition to being able to deal burn damage on all of his attacks, he's also completely immune from it. With Stark being my favorite Espada, I was actually kinda nervous they were gonna mess this character up, and not only did they not disappoint, but we also got to see the return of Gunner Stark. And finally at number 1 we have 7,000 Orbs, Belle, whose abilities are just straight up unbelievable. Like most of the other characters, she also has a really high SP and Frenzy. Unlike any other character in the game though, she has Frenzy and a plus 40 Berserker, which is the equivalent of having 2 strong attack damage links equipped to her at all times. Not to mention she's got her own link of strong attack recharge, meaning her strong attacks come back faster, and this is actually great for her because her strong attack 2 is a boost move with Enhancer, increasing the team's attack, defense, and focus by 33% for 20 seconds, and because she's a strong attack recharge character, she can essentially have an infinite boost. Not only that, but this strong attack 2 is also a barrier move, making her the second character ever to have this ability, after Oki Aura, and making her a great team player, since unlike Oki Aura, you can build her in a way that you can do this infinitely. And while barrier moves typically don't have the best range, hers actually does, since she has Havoc at 20. It also makes her strong attack 3 have a range beyond full screen, and her strong attack 1 have really good range for a lunge move. Now this is just her strong attacks, but Belle's normal attacks are also really good. This is because she has Enhancer, so it increases her attack by 33%. But unlike most SP characters that have an Enhancer boost move, she has a plus 40 Bruiser, which is unbelievably rare and makes her normal attack actually really good for an SP character. Seriously, like to the point where you can use her as a normal attacking character if you wanted to. Also, unlike pretty much any other character, she has Devastation at 60%. It's not exactly bombardment, but it is 20% more damage than most other character specials. On top of all this, she's also completely immune to being frozen. She truly is the ultimate hybrid character and is more than deserving of the number 1 spot. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for some more top 10 lists.